in addition to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of functions, we can also do another operation on them. That's called composition. So here's kind of visual for what composition is. If we take an x value, some input, and we give it to a function, say g will then do some operations on it, give us an output. That output we typically, we write as g of x. We could then take that output and give that number to another function, say f. The result will be f of g of x. The composition of f with g. All right, so here we have a notation for this. We usually use an open circle like this. This just means f of g of x. And we could also take f composed with, or we could take g composed with f. So in this case, we would apply f, or give x to f first, and then to g. So g of f of x. All right. Let's do an example with the composition of functions. So here we'll take two functions we had in the last video. F of x equals x squared plus 1, and g of x equals the square root of x plus 3. We're going to find f composed with g and g composed with f. So we'll find both of these for these functions. Let's start with f composed with g. That's f of g of x. And what is g of x? It's going to be the square root of x plus 3. So we'll put it in there. So f of square root x plus 3. And now we pass square root of x plus 3 as an argument into f. And look what f does. F takes the input and squares it and adds 1. So we'll take the square root of x plus 3 and square it and then add 1. So let's do that. So square root of x plus 3 squared plus 1. Okay, well we know that the square root and a square, they undo each other. So we have x plus 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So f composed with g of x for these two functions is x plus 4. Let's find g composed with f. Here we want g of f of x. And f of x is x squared plus 1. And now we give x plus 1 to the function g. And we know that the function g takes the input, adds 3, and then takes the square root. So here we'll have the square root of x squared plus 1 plus 3. So we'll have the square root of x squared plus 4. So f composed with g is x plus 4. G composed with f is square root of x squared plus 4. It's interesting to note that f composed with g is different than g composed with f. And in general, that's true. You take the composition, it does not commute. You cannot change the order and expect to get the same thing. There is a case where you can. We'll talk about that later.